Oh, what a great day to be alive. Hey, Togepi? Togepi looks very happy. Fantastic. Hey guys, it's Griffinoni here, and welcome back to Pokemon HeartGold. Last time, we entered Azalea Town for the very first time. We hatched Togepi from an egg, we met Kurt, we fought Team Rocket, and we drove them out of the town because they were cutting up the Slowpoke tails, trying to sell them for money. And we saved the day. This time, we find ourselves still in Azalea Town, and the way to the gym has been opened. But before we do that, I want to go back and see Kurt, because there is a service that he provides that we need to talk about. That's right, boys. It's time to talk about Kurt's balls. You have apricorns for me? Fine, I'll turn them into Pokeballs. Okay, so as you can see, there are 7 different options for what we can give him. We've only been able to find 5 of the 7 options. There will be other ones that we'll be able to unlock later on. But I do want to go over all the different types of Pokeballs that he can make, because not only do they have very unique and bizarre effects, but these Pokeballs have a very rich and complicated history that I feel is worth talking about before we get to anything else today. So, to start off, if we give him a white apricorn, we will get a fastball. This is the same ball that he gave us for free in the previous episode. Now, fastball is 4 times effective on Pokemon that have a base speed of 100 or higher. Now, there aren't too many Pokemon that have this exact specific speed, or rather, at least a specific speed, but there are plenty enough Pokemon that justify having at least a few of these. Especially in this game, considering what we're gonna have to tackle later on. So, this is definitely one of his better ones. Now, that is how it's supposed to work. And that is definitely how it does work in this game. In Gen 2, however, when the fastball was introduced, that is not how it worked at all. In Gen 2, due to a glitch, the fastball only worked this way against specifically Grimer, Magnemite, and Tangela. Because back then, it was meant to work against Pokemon who had a chance to flee on their turn. In that specific generation, they had a mechanic where the Pokemon were able to run away themselves. However, it only ended up working on Pokemon that had a 10% chance to flee, which consequently only included those 3 Pokemon. So back then, there were 251 of them, and 248 of them were about as effective as a normal Pokeball. It's ridiculous. Now, moving on to the next apricorn, which we have not actually found. If we give him a blue apricorn, we can get a lure ball. We have not gotten the apricorn for this so far, but we have gotten a lure ball previously when we were on Route 32. The lure ball works 3 times as well against a Pokemon while you find it while fishing. There really isn't a particular history of this Pokeball in terms of it not working. It did work explicitly as intended. But it is worth pointing out once again that this is one of the only cases of a Pokeball, other than just a normal Pokeball, being shown and used consistently in the anime. Ash's Totodile was caught in this type of Pokeball, and Missy's Corsola was also caught with a lure ball. The reason why they were using lure balls is because they were given the lure balls by Kurt. So this does make sense, but it is nice to see other types of Pokeballs actually showing proper representation in the anime. Moving on to our next apricorn, if we give Kurt a black apricorn, we will get a heavy ball. As the name implies, works well on heavy Pokemon. It's not quite the same as it is in Pokemon Legends Arceus for those of you who work with that one. It is based on the Pokemon's weight. It's not just a Pokeball that's incredibly heavy. Now, the weird thing about this one is that unlike the vast majority of Pokeballs, the catch rate is not multiplied. Instead, the catch rate is manually increased depending on the weight. If the Pokemon weighs exactly 451.3 pounds or less, then the catch rate will outright decrease by 20, which can be a major problem if you're fighting the wrong Pokemon. Now, due to a glitch that occurs in this game, if the Pokemon is exactly 451.4 pounds, the Pokemon modifier will not be at exactly 0. It will increase by a specific amount, but it can't be at a perfect number. Now, if the Pokemon is 451.5 5 to 677 pounds, then the catch modifier will increase by 20. If the Pokemon weighs 677.3 to 902.8 pounds, then the catch rate will increase by 30. And if the Pokemon weighs 903 pounds or more, then the catch rate will increase by 40. Now, you might think about these numbers and think, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. But here's the thing. A lot of the Pokemon that have extremely high weights also have extremely low catch rates. Some of them having a catch rate as low as 3. So being able to increase the catch rate from 3 to 43 is actually incredibly good and definitely makes the heavy balls worth considering against the right Pokemon. Now, in Pokemon Crystal, the heavy ball mostly worked as intended, except against 3 specific Pokemon. Kadabra, Tauros, and Sunflora, it did not work exactly as intended. Because of their index numbers being divisible by 64 in this game, their weights came back as junk data, and as a result, they were interpreted as massive weights. This caused those 3 Pokemon to get the highest benefit of being caught with a heavy ball when they really shouldn't have. So on a very program and technical level, Kadabra, Tauros, and Sunflora are all thick. Moving on, if we give Kurt a red apricorn, we get the level ball. The level ball works well on Pokemon whose level is less than your Pokemon's level. The greater the difference, the more effective it is. The way this works is that you will get a 1x catch multiplier if your Pokemon's level is less than or equal to the wild Pokemon's level, essentially making the level ball as effective as a normal Pokeball. If your Pokemon's level is higher than the wild Pokemon's level, the catch rate will be multiplied by 2. However, it will not be any higher than that if your Pokemon's level is not at least double. If your Pokemon's level is at least double, but less than 4 times that of your opposing Pokemon, then the catch rate will be 4 times as effective. And if your Pokemon's level is at least 4 times that of the wild Pokemon, then you get an 8 times multiplier, which is one of the highest Pokeball multipliers in the game. Now, this does sound good, but the reality of using the level ball is if you want to get the absolute most effective catch rate out of this, the absolute highest level that your opposing Pokemon could ever be for this to be potentially effective is 25. Any higher than that, and it's never possible to get the 8 times multiplier. And even then, when I say 25, that assumes that your opposing Pokemon is 25 or less, and you're level 100. So it's a lot of work to get the absolute most out of this, but if you use the level ball correctly, it can be helpful. Plus, worst case scenario, as long as your Pokemon's level is higher, you still get a Pokeball that's as effective as an Ultra Ball. So it's still not bad. It just can't reach its highest potential against higher level Pokemon. Now, in Gold, Silver, and Crystal version, due to a coding error, the level ball did not work as intended. It did technically work in the way it's supposed to, where it does multiply the catch rate in the same way. However, what it also consequently did is ignored all modifications to the opposing Pokemon's status and HP. You know, the things that you normally do to increase the odds of catching a Pokemon. Yeah, all that's ignored. So if you use a level ball in Gen 2, you may as well not even bother damaging the opposing Pokemon because it would actually be just as effective to not do that. I don't know why. It obviously was not intended, but like, guys, really, you should have checked. Next up, if we give Kurt a pink apricorn, he will give us the Love Ball. The Love Ball is good for catching Pokemon of the same species, but the opposite gender of your Pokemon. So it's not really good for catching new Pokemon, but if you need to catch Pokemon of alternate genders, which is actually somewhat worth doing in this game, because in Gen 4 they introduced a mechanic where many Pokemon had alternate sprites depending on whether it was male or female, it can be useful for that. The conditions for this are not particularly great if you're trying to catch new Pokemon, but if you do meet them, it does get an 8 times multiplier. So you do have that going for you. Now, in Gold, Silver, and Crystal version, there was another glitch where the ball worked in the exact opposite way. where it only worked against the same species and gender as your Pokemon. To be fair, back then, these were the first games to factor in genders with Pokemon, so I'm not gonna hark on it too much. But the fact is, the Love Ball just doesn't work the way that they intended to at all back in Gen 2. You can make the argument they were supporting certain romantic lifestyles, but no, they definitely were not doing that in the late 90s. Sorry to say. So, I'm glad that they fixed this now, but guys, really, if we give Kurt the green apricorn, we get a friend ball. This will make the captured Pokemon very fond of you. The way that this works is that the Pokemon's friendship level will instantly go up to 200. Normally, any Pokemon that requires like a high friendship for evolution needs level 220 friendship to reach it. So the fact that this exists can make the process of catching and raising certain Pokemon much faster. Now, some may compare this to the Luxury Ball and think that it's redundant, but that is not the same. The Luxury Ball does not instantly bring the friendship level higher. It simply increases the rate at which friendship levels increase. So this is objectively better because it is essentially just a shortcut to high friendship. There are definitely certain Pokemon that you would want to use the friend ball on, because some Pokemon's base friendship, despite requiring friendship evolution, is absurdly low. And lastly, if we give Kurt the yellow apricorn, we get the Moon Ball. Now, the Moon Ball is only good for catching Pokemon that evolve using the Moonstone and their pre-evolutions. Even though this only does encompass a select handful of Pokemon, it is 4 times effective against these, so it is worth having at least a couple of them, at least for completion's sake. Now, in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, this ball straight up did not work. There were no alternate conditions, it just did not work as intended. Now, in a programming sense, the only way the Moon Ball was going to work in Gold, Silver, and Crystal was if the Pokemon had a branching evolution where it either evolved by using the Moonstone or by using a Burn Heal to evolve to the other branch. Obviously, there are no Pokemon that meet these exact conditions because no Pokemon evolves with a Burn Heal. So, yeah, the Moon Ball was basically useless. I don't know why they were programmed so badly, because these Pokeballs are very unique and interesting. But at the very least, these Pokeballs have finally gotten to the point where they are working in the exact way that they are intended to work. Now, one thing to note about all of these Pokeballs, none of the Pokeballs that are made by Kurt can be held by Pokemon in this generation. Other Pokeballs that you can obtain for yourself, even the Master Ball, you can give to your Pokemon to hold on to. But these 8 Pokeballs cannot be held. And the reason why this is the case is because in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, these balls do not exist. And it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, they're not obtainable in the game. No, they're straight up not part of the game's programming. And so they made it so that players cannot give Pokemon in these games those Pokeballs because they did not want players to try to trade over Pokemon holding those Pokeballs to Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. It's an understandable compromise, but I mean, what practical purpose were you going to get out of Pokemon holding Pokeballs in the first place? Now, technically, there is one other ball that Kurt is allegedly responsible for, known as the GS ball. But, we don't talk about that. Mainly because Pokemon do not want us to. We're not going to forget it. We will never forget it, Pokemon. But they don't want us to talk about it. I think for now, I'm going to give him a white apricorn. The fastballs are going to be very useful later on, so it's important that I make fastballs whenever I'm able to. It'll take a day to make you a Pokeball. Come back for it later. Yes, so you do not get the Pokeball right away. Kurt does need a little bit of time, but that is why you have Kurt's phone number. Because once he's done, he will contact you. So with that little preamble out of the way, it is time to take on the Azalea Gym. And it's time for Blazer to get his dues. Although, I guess technically we do need to have Saris in the front. Still, this is going to be Blazer's time to shine today. Your Pokemon has caught the scent of smoke. Ah, interesting. I wonder why that is. Well, I know why that is, but it's interesting that Blazer points that out. So let's head on in to the Azalea Town Gym. All right, what do you have to say, my guy? Yo, Challenger! Bugsy made the gym. It's a huge nest of Bug-type Pokemon. Bugsy's young, but he's a master of Bug-type Pokemon. It's going to be tough without my advice. Let's see, Bug-type Pokemon don't like fire. Flying-type moves are super effective, too. Yes, if only we had Wing Attack, right, Saris? Seriously, if we were at the point where Saris had Wing Attack, I would, this would be Saris' day for sure. But anyway, let's head on in. So welcome to the Azalea Town Gym. Now, this gym's layout actually changed quite significantly. The way that we need to kind of progress here is we need to use these spiders to go along these paths and fight trainers. You come all this way crossing the web like a bug Pokemon. Allow me to teach you the charms of bug Pokemon. So it is worth pointing out, as I just mentioned, that in the original Gen 2 games, this was not at all how it worked. They didn't have this unique gym approach here. The way that it worked back in Gen 2 is that it essentially was a little forest maze that you would go through. And you would just kind of work through the maze, fight trainers on the way over, and get to the gym leader that was in the middle. All right, time for Blazer to just mow through this gym. We're going to have such an easy time today, because Blazer makes this gym just an absolute piece of cake, as long as we're careful about certain things. Absolute destruction by Blazer. You proved how tough you are. Thanks, Bugcatcher Al. Just being in the gym, I feel like I've turned to a bug Pokemon. Why exactly? Anyway, the way that this gym works is that you just need to select the exact correct path for you to move on. I believe if we want to get to the next segment, we need to take the left path here. There we go. Now, next up. Bug Pokemon evolve young, so they get stronger that much faster. Debatable. Now, another thing to note about this gym, much like the Violet City gym, the gym depictions here are also kind of interesting with respect to how it was portrayed in the anime. In the anime, the gym was depicted kind of as a big circular building with a glass dome for a roof, kind of making it one of those nice big old circular greenhouses. Now, in the Pokemon Golden Boys manga, it was pretty similar depiction, except that the building was very more square and functioned kind of more as a cage than a dome. I don't know why. I'm gonna say straight up, the Golden Boys manga interpretation of a lot of the locations are just very bizarre and just so out of left field. I really don't understand what they were going for exactly, but not gonna complain. No. Oh my god. Really? Really? 5 Fury Attacks. Okay. What the heck, Beedrill? What are we doing here? You know what? That evens out now. Die. Oh, we actually got a decent XP yield from that one. Evident by the fact that both, well, oh, Blazer almost leveled up. Very close to leveling up. Just evolving's not enough? Yeah, I'd say so. Absolutely the case. What do you have to say? If you want to meet the gym leader, you have to move the web using the switch. Yes, so with this particular one, we do need to be mindful of where it goes. I actually do want to turn it off for now because I do want to get the most out of this gym. We're going to go straight to this bug trainer here. You saved all the Slowpoke? Ooh, you're mighty. But my grown-up Pokemon are pretty tough too. Now, what constitutes grown up as opposed to evolved? Or are they just saying that because it's a biggin? That's not a grown-up Pokemon! That's a piece of garbage that we'll talk about later. Like, good lord, just... Paris is so bad, guys. Okay, well, really eating my words right now. To be fair, Paris like is like a decently high level. I think that's like one of the highest level Pokemon that we have encountered so far, but it doesn't matter because Paris dies all the time, especially when I set it on fire. All right, Blazer's grown to level 16 and is back in the green, baby. What do you got? If you move the web of the switch, you'll be able to figure out where the lift is going. All right, I'm gonna head back and heal up real quick, and then we'll press on further into the gym. All right, we are back here. So for now, the switch is turned switch is turned on to where the rope is now taut. So I am going to let it be. And we have a new interesting thing come up here. Hey, are you challenging the leader? No way. If you insist, we'll be your opponents. Now check this out. We are challenged by twins Amy and Mimi. And here, we have our first instance of a double battle. This is not what I want at all. I guess Togepi's getting some EXP today. We need to fix this. This is so bad. Pretty sure, Saris will do fine against Ladybug with Bite, but Togepi, we need to get you out. You have no business being here right now. Sorry, sweetie. Anyway, so this is our first case of a double battle. Double battles, as the name implies, happen with two Pokemon on each side at the same time. And it is worth pointing out that Blazer got poisoned. Of course it did. So two Pokemon are out at the same time, and it is worth pointing out that in the original Gen 2 games, double battles were not a thing. So this is an entirely new concept that was brought into this game. Thank God. All right, Togepi grew to level 2. Togepi grew to level 3. And now Blazer is going to die, and I need to heal again. Togepi grew to level 4. God bless. Oh, goodness. I feel a bit dizzy. Okay, not what I intended. Do I have an antidote? No, I don't. Be right back. Okay, we're back over here. We are now fully healed. So what you want to do is you want to make the rope loose with this switch, which will enable you to come over here. And then make that rope loose, and now we need to go up to the front. Now, before we do, I'm going to switch Blazer into the front, because even though I would love for Saris to gain some EXP out of this fight, this is not really a fight that is worth keeping Saris at the front for. And the reason why will become pretty apparent, but it's important that we have Blazer out right from the start, because Blazer's going to have to do a lot of the work to get us through this one. All right, let's do this. Hi, I'm Bugsy. I never lose when it comes to bug-type Pokemon. My research is going to make me the authority on bug-type Pokemon. Let me demonstrate what I've learned from my studies. We are now challenged by Leader Bugsy. It's going to be sending out Scyther, level 17, Technician for the ability, with the moves Quick Attack, Leer, U-Turn, and Focus Energy. It is also holding a Citrus Berry. This is actually Bugsy's most powerful Pokemon. It's not just that I am slightly underleveled for this fight. Now, the thing to note about Technician, really good ability that boosts the power of its low-powered moves. So in this case, I believe it does boost the power of Quick Attack. I don't believe it really does anything as far as U-Turn is concerned. A little too strong for that. Now, depending on how Scyther plays here, we may be seeing the effects of Bugsy's strategy. If not, then Blazer will mow everything down. So let's go. It was going to be opening up with Focus Energy. Depending on how this Ember does, this could make the fight very short. Nope. We're in it for the long haul. Okay, yeah, Quick Attack got boosted. And it was a critical hit because of focus energy. And Scyther got healed by the citrus berry. Okay, I am going to heal myself because we are seriously low on HP. I can't have Blazer die out just yet. All right, just need to get luckier with the Ember. Why is it not using its signature move? So, yep, that was Scyther. Okay, so what was supposed to happen? I'm pretty sure, it didn't use it because Blazer is a fire type and therefore resisted to bug type attacks. So what was supposed to happen is that Scyther is supposed to use the move U-turn. U-turn is a strong hitting physical bug type attack that causes the user to switch out afterwards. Now, because Scyther's U-turn is not very effective on Blazer, I guess it just decided to try getting rid of my Pokemon with Quick Attack instead. So now we have to deal with the remainder two of his Pokemon, and trust me, this is gonna be a joke. So Metapod, level 15, Shed Skin for the ability, only knows Tackle. This Metapod is so pathetic it doesn't even know its signature move Harden. Like, what? Anyway, just as a precaution, I'm going to go ahead and restore Blazer a little bit, and then we're going to get the ball rolling again. Because the rest of this fight, once you beat Scyther, is a total joke. Because again, Metapod literally only knows Tackle. Yep, one shot. One shot, Blazer. That's how we do it. Got some more XP for Blazer and Saris. And his last Pokemon is Kakuna, so we are going to send out Saris one more time. Now, it is worth pointing out, now that we are at the tail end of this, in the anime, Bugsy actually had a different Pokemon, like, pretty much like an entirely different setup. Yeah, sure, he had Scyther, but he also had a Spinarak, which, Spinarak was, ironically, his strongest Pokemon, which I don't fully understand why that is the case, but yeah, Spinarak was the strongest Pokemon, and he never used it. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Poison, so he got off the poison! Anyway, Kakuna, level 15, has his Shed Skin for the ability, only knows Poison Sting, also does not know Harden. Seriously, what even was this fight? This fight was a total joke. Anyway, we got through this with a little trouble. Blazer, as I expected, cleaned house. That's the end of it. Yeah, I'll say. Whoa, amazing! You're an expert on Pokemon. My research isn't complete yet. Okay, you win. Take this badge. We received the Hive Badge from Bugsy. Do you know the benefits of the Hive Badge? If you have it, Pokemon up to level 30 will obey you, even traded once. Pokemon that know Cut will be able to use it outside of battle too. Here, I also want you to have this. We got TM89. That contains U-turn. Let your Pokemon attack, then switch with the next Pokemon in your party. Isn't that great? It is great. So great, I'm going to head out. No, all kidding aside, U-turn is a decently powerful attack, but it's just one of those weird cases where because the AI just doesn't know how to handle fire types very well, it never used U-turn. Never got to see U-turn in play, and that is always very funny to me. All right, what do you have to say, my rotund individual? Well done. That was a great clash of talented young trainers. To people like you, the future of Pokemon is bright. Thanks, my man. All right, well, what a great day of battling it was. Anything to say for yourself, Blazer, you champion? Excuse me, ma'am. Pokemon stretched out his body and is relaxing. Well, you definitely deserve some R&R, buddy, because you cleaned house. So on that positive note, I think we're going to end things here. We've gotten a new badge from the new gym leader. We've talked about Kurt's somewhat amazing balls. And we are now prepared to move ahead in the world of Pokemon. So next time on Pokemon HeartGold, we're going to head further west and see what lies beyond Azalea Town. See you guys then.